one of the things I want to talk about is gratitude.
Okay.
And appreciation.
Yeah.
I just think that we take for granted the goodness of God. Like, I was talking to Amanda earlier today, and I was just thinking, I think about the 10 people closest to me who I love most. All 10 of them went to bed last night and woke up this morning. Like, that's something to be grateful for, because not every day of my life is going to be like that. You know what I mean? Unless I'm one of the 10 people that kicks the bucket first. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day...
Don't speak it. I want you here.
I know you do.
You're my favorite person on earth.
I know.
Cannot lose you.
I know.
I hate it when he says stuff like that. Like, cancel the assignment of the enemy.
I'm not speaking it. I'm just saying that, like, the big idea is that sometimes we only focus on what isn't going well in our lives, but we don't even appreciate the fact that God woke us up in our health with our loved ones.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff that actually matters more than anything. So I'm just so unbelievably grateful for my family and my children who are healthy, my parents who are healthy. I have healthy grandparents even. I know everybody doesn't have those things, but I'm just so grateful for what I do have.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I think that's fantastic. I even lose gratitude. It's kind of like you're not grateful for your ability to breathe until your nose gets stuffy.
True.
And then you think, I'm so grateful that I can breathe.
Yeah.
I'm not grateful that I can walk until I have a C-section and I can't get out of bed and do things myself. And then I just have so much more gratitude,
Yeah.
You don't know what you have until it's gone,
Yeah.
And it's sad that in my life many times I just take things for granted until it feels like it's gone. And so I think God is pleased and we're much more satisfied and happy and fulfilled in life when we're able to say, look at what I do have, look at what I am blessed with before it's gone, because at the end of the day it's all going to be taken away at some point. We can't take anything past this life with us, and so we need to thank God for when it's here and for the relationships when they're here. Some relationships are seasonal. Some relationships, like you said, you don't know when people are going to leave this earth, So, that gratitude piece is everything. If you're ever having a bad day, if you switch to gratitude, it's like, dang, I'm convicted now, but I needed it,
Yeah, I would just say, starting off your day appreciating the things that you have. Even if you could start your day saying, I am grateful for these 5 things today.
What are 5 things you're grateful for today?
I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for the health of my family. I'm grateful for friends that I have around me that I'm able to impact. I'm grateful for the ability to move my hands, my feet, and to talk with my right mind.
Yeah, that right mind piece is everything.
Come on.
Because we could talk and not be in our right mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people do, they just don't realize it.
Yeah. Man.
So,
what am I grateful for? I'm grateful for a nose that is not stuffy. I'm grateful for a beautiful day outside. It's beautiful.
Yep.
I'm thankful for my family. Shout out to the world's best husband. He's amazing. Amazing. I'm grateful for my church. I'm grateful for my mentees. And I'm just grateful for Jesus. I'm so grateful. I really mean that. I'm so grateful that, I in myself suck, but he's so loving and he accepts me anyways. It's just thank you. Thank you, God. So that's what we're grateful for. What are some things you guys are grateful for? I want you to drop it.
Drop them in the comments. Talk about what you are grateful for today.
We need at least 3. Drop 3 things in the chat. 3 things that you're grateful for
I like that.
today.
Don't just put one thing you're grateful for.
3 things.
Put multiple things that you're grateful for.
Yeah. Let's see it, guys. What are you guys grateful for?
And for the people who watch this later on YouTube, you dropped in the comments what you're grateful for too.
Yes.
Come on.
I want to hear it. Having life. Yes, we praise God for the life that we have. Friends. Not everybody has friends.
Yep.
Open doors. Yes. Come on. Opportunities. A full future and forgiveness of the past. Yeah.
So good.
Pass the offering plate. To live, move, and have my being.
So good.
In Jesus. Yes. Grateful for the technology that I have to connect with you.
Aww.
Yes. I'm so grateful for that too, Patricia. My breath, my family, my destiny. I'm grateful for God pruning me so I can grow. Oh, you're thanking God for pruning.
Hello.
You're safe.
You safe.
My health, the word, healthy relationships. Not everybody has that. Prayer life, godly wisdom, and discernment. Okay. Friends that unapologetically love Jesus. Not everybody has that. That's something to appreciate. I love hearing this, babe.
Yeah.
Gratitude session. I mean, it's all perspective, man. Like, anytime you feel bad, you just need a perspective shift.
Yeah.
Perspective.
Yeah.
It's just like, if everything is taken away from you, like your life isn't taken, your salvation isn't taken.
Come on. And honestly, your peace shouldn't be taken.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you got peace of mind, you got a whole lot more than others, you know?
Yeah, that's real. So, like, what would you say to Christians who are struggling in the peace category? Like, they're like, I'm saved and I feel like I should have peace, but like I'm lacking in peace.
I believe that peace is oftentimes the absence of worry and anxiety. And so I would just ask, like, what are you anxious about? What is it that you're thinking about that you feel like is in your hands but should be in God's hands?
So how does somebody give worry and anxiety in that situation over to God?
I think just talking to God and asking Him to give you peace. You know what I mean? Like, I think we have to remember that peace doesn't come from within ourselves, but that it comes from God. And so it's just like, God, like, can you give me peace? You know what I mean? I need your help with that, you know? And so I don't think that He wants us to not have peace. And so you just ask God for it. What's your perspective, though? I can hear you thinking.
So, like, whenever you think about peace, I think about, like, people say, oh, I want world peace. And world peace means the absence of, like, wars and disruption and destruction, right?
And problems.
Yeah, so, like, it's like, well, if you're asking God to give you peace, isn't it that He's removing something? You know, like, it's just like, God, give me peace. Well, is He removing the worry? You know? Or is it that you can have peace in the midst of worry? You know? Like...
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that helps with me personally is like an eternal perspective.
Okay.
It's like people want world peace, but this world is so temporary, you know? And like, there will be a day where we have just ultimate peace, ultimate satisfaction, ultimate joy, ultimate happiness, you know?
But the scripture says that, like, God can give us the peace that passes all understanding. So, like, does He have to take something away from us in order for us to have peace? Like, it's taking away the worry? Or is it like, no, like, peace is something that He gives? I guess what I'm saying is, like, is peace bestowed upon us, or does peace come when something is taken away? You know?
So I think that oftentimes when we're lacking something, like we may have worry or anxiety, but we can pray and ask God for peace, and then it becomes more of a choice, you know? Like you could have like you could have your light bill due tomorrow and you ain't got no money in your bank account. And then you wake up the next day and you're just like, I still ain't got the money, but you may still have peace that, you know what, no matter what happens, God has my back. It's gonna work out how it's supposed to work out. And you decide not to worry about it anymore. You know what I mean? And it's not that there is now an absence of that problem. It's just more so you have made a decision to have peace.
So you feel like you have to decide to have peace?
I think so. I think that so it's like we were just at a restaurant. They may offer us dessert, but we have to decide to eat it. You know what I mean? It's like God will offer you peace, but you have to decide to have it. You know what I mean?
So what is peace?
I believe that peace is the certainty within you that God is for you and that He will work it out. Even when things don't look good, even when things don't seem good or feel good, it's like I am confident that all things work out for those who love God and are called according to His purpose. And they work out for good. What do you think about that, though? Like, what do you think?
It's just interesting. So, like, peace doesn't come like from like, oh, I have peace that like this specific situation is gonna work out, but like you have peace that like every situation is for my good and that I'm in the palm of God's hand.
And I think you have to ask yourself, like, for you, what does working out mean?
I don't know. Taking away the feelings, taking away the problems, you know, like taking away. I feel like for a lot of people that peace, like when they lack peace, they're dealing with a lot of negative emotions. And so, like, I would expect God to take away those negative emotions and they're left with peace because those negative emotions are not disrupting them. But you're saying that peace comes from, like, knowing that, hey, if I'm in the midst of something, I already know that, like, God is going to work out everything for my good. And so it's not... I guess what I'm wondering is, like, is peace a feeling? Like, what is it, you know? Is it, what does peace feel like? What does peace feel like to you?
For me, peace feels like... It feels like the opposite of, like, anxiety and worry. It feels like a calmness, kind of like the idea of, like, peace be still, you know? It's level-headedness, you know? It's... Yeah, that's what I would say. And I don't know if it's the absence of, like, worry or anxiety as much as it is, like, the presence of certainty in God overpowering that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like that was a missing link.
Yeah. It's like, it can... Like, if you're peace about something on a... If your anxiety about something on a scale from 1 to 10 is a 4, but your trust in God is an 8, then you'll have peace. You know what I mean?
So peace is more so certainty in God, you would say.
Yeah, and I said it before, but like it's like it is a certainty within you that God is for you.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I meant by that. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
there are people who have peace and their lives look like hell and chaos.
Mm-hmm.
But their trust in God is beyond the chaos.
That's really good, honey.
Yeah.
It's really good. So, like I know you mentioned asking God for peace, and then you said making a decision. So,
Yeah.
like, is that how someone obtains peace? They just ask God for it and then make a decision?
Yeah, I feel like that's how a lot of the fruits of the Spirit work.
Okay, tell me about it.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control. Like, you don't God doesn't just drop patience from the sky on you one day and then you become a patient person. You actually go through, you actually may have somebody that gets on your absolute last nerves, or like your kids get on your nerves or something, and then you're just like, wow, let me practice patience and strengthen that patience muscle. And so the same thing happens with joy. You don't have to tell somebody to count it all joy when their life is good. You know what I mean? It's like you have to display joy in times when things aren't joyful to build up that joy muscle. Same thing with peace. You know what I mean? Like, same thing with love. Same thing with self-control. You know what I mean? You can't say, oh, I have self-control, and you've never been in a situation to where you could lose control.
So peace is really put into practice when your situation isn't peaceful.
That's exactly right.
So peace is not put into practice when your life is comfortable.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I mean, think about it. When Jesus was on the boat with the disciples, it's rocking, there are waves, there are winds, they're scared. And Jesus comes out and is like, peace be still. You know what I mean? And it's like, why would you expect the disciples, Jesus, to be at peace whenever all this calamity is happening? But it's like, no, that's when you show you have peace.
It's really good.
Yeah. Everything else is just kind of stage talk. Everything else is just kind of like theory. But it's when you go through it that you're just like, oh no, like, I actually do have a relationship with God, you know?
Yeah. So whenever someone says...
There's a question. Maybe.
Okay, let me see what questions you guys have. Can unsaved people truly have peace? It's a good question.
I'll tell you this. I think that God can give to whoever what he wants to give them. You know? But I know people who are not saved and who at one time were saved and who said, like, I remember I have one friend that says, whenever I got saved, there was a peace I had that was like no other peace that I had ever experienced. And it was very, very real. Now, he ended up valuing some other things beyond that peace, and he's not saved currently. But, like, the big idea is that there may be a peace. How can I say this? So, like, growing up, like, I ate steak. But it wasn't until I had a steak cooked right that I was like, oh, like, this is really steak. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's how it is with peace.
Okay.
To where you can have, like, a peace or, like, a stillness or a calmness or, like, get yourself to a certain level. But I believe that a peace that surpasses all understanding comes from God.
Gotcha. That makes sense. Let me see if you guys have any other questions. That was a great question. Thanks for asking. I think unsaved people get glimpses of God's peace as well, but they often mistake it as happiness.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So I hear Christians say, like, go in the direction of peace. That's how you know, like, where God's will is. Like, how do you discern between, like, I'm just in a situation that is hard, but I need to access peace anyways, versus, like, oh, I'm lacking peace because like this situation ain't got over it.
I'm not for sure what you're asking about the question, but like if you have an answer to that, I'd be interested.
No, I don't have an answer. I'm asking. So I'll ask it again.
Okay.
What's the difference between like, hey, this situation isn't good, or how I feel isn't good, but I'm gonna be peaceful anyways, and I'm gonna access that peace anyways, the peace that passes understanding, versus like I don't feel good, I don't feel right, and the situation isn't good, but it's not God, and you shouldn't access peace because that's not where peace is. Because people will say go in the direction of peace, right? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't see peace and comfort as synonymous. Sometimes they're together, but there were many times where Paul was doing the will of the Lord and he was in jail and getting whipped and beaten, but he had this peace that he was doing what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean?
How do you know that that's not like what if you are lacking peace because something isn't God's will though? And how do you know the difference between like, oh no, I'm in the will of God and versus no, I'm not in the will of God and that's why I'm lacking peace? Do you know what I'm saying? Whenever you teach about the God filter, the last filter that you put people through is say, do I have peace about this? So how do you know, like, if, like, so let's say you go through the God filter and the last
Can you use, like, an example, like, with a job or money or something to where I can kind of, like, feel it out?
Sure. So let's say somebody's dating someone.
Okay.
Or maybe they're engaged and they have some uneasy feelings. But in that circumstance, should they access peace, the peace that passes all understanding? Or should they say, oh no, because I don't have peace, this must mean that God isn't in it? So in what situation would someone say, no, I'm in this, I'm making this decision, but I'm going to access peace no matter how I feel? Or is it like, no, you need to trust those feelings?
I believe that Okay, so I have a better idea of what you're asking now. Let's take the situation with someone dating an individual and not feeling peace. Like, question number one is why don't you feel peace? Like, what is the why? Are you not feeling peace because this person is saying like, yeah, I mean, Jesus is cool, but like the universe is cooler? You know what I mean? Like, if that's the case, then that's probably why you don't feel peace. It's because the Spirit of God is checking you on that person. You know what I mean? But if it's like a decision, another decision, like that you need to make and you're not sure, you're not feeling peace, but you're not, I would say that's where just community and wise counsel comes from. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because you don't always have to rely on your own peace. Like, my thoughts are, if you have 5 wise people that you can trust that are godly around you, then I would just kind of see if I could use some of their peace. You know what I mean? It's like, if you are not feeling peace about something, and you have 5 wise spiritual people who are around you that also say like, oh, I don't feel peace about that either, they may be able to actually open up some things and reveal some things that they see that you may be missing because you're too close to the situation.
That's really good.
And so that's why you can't live life alone. That's why community is important, because left up to just your own thoughts and devices and your own feelings, like, you could be thinking like, man, I don't feel peace, and it was just like the tacos you had the other day. You know what I mean? Like, it's not real peace. It's not a real feeling, you know?
That's good. The devil is author of confusion. If you're not in the will of God, you will know. God promises that he will not hold his truth from us. And if we need understanding about a situation, or to know if we are outside of the will of God, all we have to do is simply ask him to guide and direct us.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, that's easier said than done when there are situations that are not necessarily bad. Like you may have an opportunity to have job A or to have job B, and they pay you the same amount of money, have the same amount of flexibility, have the same, things down the line, and you may not have peace because you don't know which one to go to. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, like God, like you may be praying to God, and they're like, man, we need a decision, and man doesn't always work on God's timelines in a way, and so you just at that point have to I don't know, the way I think about it, I told this to Amanda before. I feel like as a Christian, our life is like bowling, but with bumpers. And that if you roll a ball down the bowling alley, you may be able to roll it straight and hit pins. Like, that's awesome. But if you're rolling with bumpers, like, you may have a few bumps and bruises along the way if you're not going down this straight and narrow lane. But at the end of the day, like, you're not going to fall into the gutter because God loves you too much for that. And so I believe that, there are maybe times where we just have to make decisions. And it wouldn't surprise me if there were decisions that we had to make without absolute peace, because there may be lessons that through our decision making we have to learn, and the only way we can learn them is just by making the decision.
Amen. I have the itis.
You have the itis?
Oh my goodness, I'm barely awake.
Cool. Well,
but I love y'all. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for rocking with us. We'll catch you on the flip side, and I'm gonna save